Water runs like glass poured from the sky, splashing, swirling, vanishing down drains as if the world is perfectly lubricated for life. Rivers dance, rain taps, waves sprint toward the shore. But today, the dance trips. Every ocean, lake, cloud, and glass of tap water thickens in an instant. Florp. Air fills with a wet, sticky hush as raindrops hit the ground with a slow, rubbery splat. Your sink doesn't run, it oozes. The world's blood just turned to honey, and this is now our planet. You flick on the tap. Instead of a refreshing hiss, you get a reluctant, gooey gloop. It stretches, trembles, and finally plops into the sink like it's emotionally unprepared for this journey. Your morning glass of water, more like a gym workout. You tilt the glass and the liquid inside just slowly leans, like it needs a motivational speech. Outside, the street is chaos in slow motion. Cars hit puddles and the puddles hit back. Sticky arcs of jelly water cling to bumpers and then slide off with a resigned blorp. Pedestrians try to dash through the rain and end up moving like they're wading through invisible, sugary force field. Everything looks like reality's frame rate dropped to half. Water normally has the vibe of pure chaos. Low viscosity, it slips, slides, and refuses to stay put. Honey is the opposite. Thick, resistant, like it wants to file a complaint every time you try to move it. Viscosity is just how stubborn a fluid is when you try to shear it past itself. Make water as viscous as honey, and the whole planet gets really, really stubborn. Rain, for example, is basically billions of tiny, free-falling acrobats. Thin water slices through air. Honey-thick water? Oh boy. Those droplets are more like confused jelly marbles. They fall slower, deform, wobble, and smack into the ground without proper splashes. Just sticky impacts and sad little domes trying to remember how puddles work. At first, this is hilarious. Roof gutters choke on stretchy ropes of rain. Storm drains burp and give up. Kids discover you can poke the surface of a puddle and leave a finger tunnel for a few seconds. Somewhere, one overexcited science teacher is yelling, "This is amazing," while the rest of civilization quietly starts to fail. Let's zoom way out. Rivers are Earth's conveyor belts. They move water, nutrients, heat, and generally keep things lively. Now each river turns into a slow, shimmering muscle of gel. Flow rates nosedive. Instead of wild rapids you'd raft through, you get lazy, transparent slugs inching around bends like, "Yeah, I'll get there, Thursday." Sediment, usually carried gracefully downstream, is now trapped in syrup. Mud just sits there. Deltas stop building, wetlands starve. Fish fight to push their fins through the gummy water. Tiny plankton struggle to mix. The river is no longer a highway. It's a traffic jam in fluid form. Honk, honk, nothing moves. Your city's plumbing? Toasted. Pipes were designed for water sprinting through, not jelly doing a reluctant shuffle. Pumps overheat trying to push this gloopy mess. Toilets take 30 slow seconds to do a sad spiral. Showers feel like being gently drizzled in. Humanity, united by one thought, "Bro, where's my water pressure?" On the coasts, the oceans themselves have turned into planetary jam. Waves still feel the wind, but instead of crash, splash, whoosh, they rise slowly, hunch over, and topple with a heavy thwump. Surfing becomes less of a sport and more of a controlled, full-body mission to not get gently swallowed by a giant translucent pillow. Wind can't stir the surface properly anymore, so mixing dies. Nutrient-rich water from below just stays there, like shy party guests who won't leave the corner. Surface waters starve. Plankton blooms change or collapse, and food chains go, reboot? The whole ocean starts layering like a fancy cocktail that no one can drink. But the real meltdown starts with heat. Our oceans are massive heat engines, moving warm and cold water around the globe. Make the water thick, and convection currents crawl. Warm water stays where it is. Cold water stays where it is. It's like breaking your planet's air conditioner and replacing it with a lukewarm, sticky fan. Storms depend on quick evaporation and condensation cycles. Thick water still evaporates, but surface movement is so sluggish that fewer droplets make the leap. Tropical cyclones weaken, rain systems change, and vast regions shift from occasionally flooded to worryingly dry. Somewhere, a former hurricane looks at its ghostly satellite image and sighs. I used to be someone. Your own body starts filing complaints. Blood is fine, it's still blood. But your cells rely on watery fluids diffusing quickly. Make everything syrupish, and molecules move slower. Nutrients reach where they're going more like a local bus than a bullet train. Your kidneys, salivary glands, every tiny filter in your body must now push goo instead of water. Ugh. Plants suffer in hardcore, what is this nonsense mode. Roots normally sip water that slides between soil grains. Now that water clings to particles like desperate slime, roots physically struggle to pull it in. Some hardy species might adapt, growing thicker roots and slower metabolisms, but vast forests would yellow, wilt, and collapse in slow-motion thirst while standing in mud that's too clingy to drink. On the microscopic level, life gets bonked even harder. Microbes depend on diffusion, random jiggling of molecules in nice thin water. Turn up the viscosity, and every nutrient, waste molecule, and signal moves like it's stuck in slow, invisible chi. Some bacteria might chug along, but many delicate ecosystems and ponds and soils just pause, then fizzle. Then there are glaciers. For now, their ice stays solid, but meltwater on top thickens. Streams that once carved tunnels through ice become sluggish glass snakes. Lake outbursts from glaciers turn less instant flood and more mighty, creeping blob. Still dangerous, but with way more time to stare in disbelief and say, that shouldn't look like that. Humans, being stubborn mammals with Wi-Fi, try to adapt. Engineers build mega pumps the size of houses. Pipes widen. We start using heat and vibration to make water flow better, shaking pipes like we're trying to convince the universe's biggest ketchup bottle. Life becomes a dance with a fluid that doesn't really work. Daily habits become cartoonishly dramatic. Filling a swimming pool takes ages, and swimming through it feels like pushing through unset jelly. Possible, but hilariously exhausting. Sploosh becomes schlorp. Falling in the pool is no longer a crisp splash, but more of a dramatic, gurgling boop as your momentum gets eaten. Sports change too. Water slides simply stop, turning into awkward plastic ramps leading to a puddle of sticky regret. Sailing needs more wind. Boats sit deeper and drag heavier wakes out behind them. Rowers bulk up again, then say, "Actually, no, I'm switching to chess." Even sound changes. Splashes lose their crisp snap. Footsteps in puddles go from slap slap to whoop whoop. Waterfalls, once thunderous, become patient, whispering curtains of jelly, sliding down cliffs in almost silence, like someone turned down the volume on gravity. Weather forecasts get weird. Instead of chance of showers, you get probability of atmospheric jelly drizzle. Floods no longer race. They creep but hold. Once they arrive, thick water sits in streets, refusing to drain, turning neighborhoods into shallow, glassy lagoons you have to wade through with dramatic "hoo" sounds. Over years and decades, the real story becomes energy. It simply costs more effort to move water. The thing our entire civilization runs on. Agriculture needs beefed up irrigation. Hydropower plants struggle because thick water resists turbine blades. Even just cooling your local power plant becomes an engineering headache. And yet, hidden opportunities appear. Thick water makes erosion slower, coastlines more stable. Some floating plastic and pollutants get trapped near sources instead of distributing globally, forming nasty but local blobs we can actually attack. We might even learn to use the viscosity as a natural filter, a slow-motion sieve for cleaning our own mess. Civilization bifurcates into two zones, ultra-engineered hubs where powerful machines coax thick water into doing stuff, and vast low-tech regions where people adjust, grow drought-resistant crops, and treat liquid like an almost solid. Water stops being a background presence and becomes a visible, tangible actor in every scene of life. Through all this, one weird insight stares back at us. Nothing about water changed except one property, its viscosity. Not its chemistry, not its temperature, just how easily it flows. And that was enough to rewrite climate, ecosystems, cities, bodies, and the sounds of rain on your window. On our real Earth, viscosity is perfectly tuned. Water is just thin enough to run, mix, and evaporate quickly, but thick enough to carry nutrients and shape landscapes. It's a quiet Goldilocks parameter we rarely talk about. We obsess over temperature, pollution, oxygen, but this sleepy property silently does crowd control for the whole biosphere. If simply thickening water can do this much, what about the other dials on reality's control panel? Gravity, atmospheric pressure, the transparency of air, even the way light bends in water. Tiny numerical tweaks, enormous consequences. Physics isn't just academic, it's the recipe that bakes a habitable world instead of a cosmic disaster cake. So next time you pour a glass of water and it just behaves, clear, fast, obedient, there's a quiet miracle in your hand. It flows on command, slides through pipes with almost no complaint, falls from the sky with just enough enthusiasm to fill rivers without turning the planet into cactus land. We live in a very particular fluid story. Oceans roar instead of wheeze. Clouds billow instead of ooze. Life swims, drinks, breathes, and grows in a medium that just happens to be perfectly slippery. Our entire biography as a species is written in thin ink. In the honeywater world, every motion is negotiable. Every droplet is reluctant. Life might adapt, yes, but it would be slower, heavier, stranger. Our wild, splashing world would quiet into a syrupy, glassy stillness where change crawls. Beautiful in its own uncanny way, but utterly alien to us. Here, right now, rivers rush unreasonably fast for something that isn't solid. Waterfalls shout, and a single raindrop can fall, shatter, and disappear in a heartbeat. It all feels so normal that we call it just water. As if just could ever cover this. If water thickened tomorrow, we would finally see how much our lives are braided into the thinness of this one transparent substance. The world would slow, groan, and rearrange itself around every reluctant drop. And you might find yourself staring at your last clear, fast-flowing memory, wondering what other invisible settings of reality you've never thought to notice at all.